Last season was the best in Aberdeen's modern history, but keeping a successful team together is often harder than building one. And this summer, everyone came for our stars. Welcome back to the Sir Alex Ferguson Aberdeen Challenge here on Super Sammy Plays. Last season, we were just 90 minutes away from knocking Manchester City out of the Champions League and reaching the quarterfinals for the first time. And with the transfer window now open, we will be looking to strengthen this squad to help us take that next step. But just like last summer, that is easier said than done, as Bayern Munich have joined the Saudi clubs in trying to sign all of our players. So, can we keep a hold of our stars and build a squad capable of going even further in Europe? Let's get into it and find out. I'm going to start with something today, which is something to think about. As you might remember, if you saw previous seasons, we had Gabby Carvalho and we sold him to the Saudi club for, I can't remember which club it was, and I think it was around 15 million. So we did make some profit on him, but he has become available on a free transfer. So maybe that is something we have to look at and maybe try and bring him back to the club. But the first signing of this transfer window, we are going to be bringing in João Gomez for a bit of depth and experience in the defensive midfield slot, as he's available on a free transfer, and I certainly didn't think to turn him down, as he looks very good still, even at his age of 31. Good natural fitness, and he didn't actually want too much money either. So we've gone ahead and offered him a contract, and hopefully he'll be coming in pretty soon. And yeah, sooner than I thought, actually, as he has signed for the club now. So he has arrived along with Diakate, who you might remember we did sign in January on a pre-contract. And yeah, so funnily enough, he was worth 44 to 54 million when we signed him in January. And now that he's actually signed for us, he's less than 20 million. So it certainly suggests what they actually think of our club. And obviously, I won't show you João Gomez again, as you've just seen him. But two good signings there. And you might remember last season, we spent the whole summer basically rejecting bids of Funk, or for Funk rather. And yeah, we're starting off with another one with a £25 million bid for him. I think we got up to about 50 million last year. So obviously we weren't going to be looking at accepting anything less than that. And another offer for Collins Alexander this time, 22 million. I'm pretty sure we paid around 15, 20 million for him. And he's certainly come on a bit since then. So we weren't going to be looking to sell him either. And then this season, it looks like Urena isn't going to be the man who's wanted in terms of our centre-backs. It's going to be Pedro Silva, as Al Hazam have made an offer for him, and Bayern Munich have also made him their target. We will be changing our tactics, though, so we're going to need all the centre-backs that we can get. So we're not really going to want to sell anyone unless we absolutely have to, or the money is too good to turn down. But you'll see that with the tactics a little bit later on, as we get another offer, this time from Al Ahly for Sato. We did sign on a free transfer, so this would be all pure profit, but we weren't willing to let him go, as we get another offer from Hoffenheim for Silva this time. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened with Hoffenheim, but they decided to just try and get all of our players in this season. So I'm not sure if they've reached Europe or got into the Champions League or what, but they just decided to try and take all of our players. So we reject that one for Silva. And then Hoffenheim come back in, but for Sato this time, just 15 million. So I'm not entirely sure where people are getting these numbers from, but yeah, we rejected that. And then we got a £12 million offer from Udinese for the youngster Jakub Hajek, who we did sign for £5 million. And to be honest, he hasn't really progressed too much. And that's probably my own fault for not actually playing him too much. He's done okay. He's done well. He's scored goals when he's been required and when we've asked him to. But I am going to actually accept this one and let him go, and maybe look to bring someone in with a bit more quality and maybe a little bit younger again in the attack. And yeah, we'll see what we can do there. And after we rejected that bid from Hoffenheim Basato, they came back in with another one, which we rejected. And then they came in for another one as well for 24 million. And then another one for 30 million. So, but we weren't willing to let Sato go, so they all got rejected. But someone we was willing to let go was Radek Vitek. After we got a £12 million offer, you might remember that we've actually sold him once already. We signed him for 650k, sold him for 5.5 million, and then brought him back on a free transfer. So this is all pure profit again. And yeah, I negotiated that one up to 15 million. So we have still got Piers Charles if Vitek leaves, but I definitely think we need to go ahead and buy another goalkeeper, as you've all seen how injury prone Piers Charles actually is. And just as we're being warned about people coming for Silva, we get an offer for Milovanovic for 20 million from Napoli, which I was quite confused with this one as he's got a release clause of 19.5 million, but it was the way that it was structured. So we do reject it, and we do also say goodbye to Marek Hajek as he has gone and left to Udinese, and maybe he's their long-term replacement for Pifundi, who we actually signed from Udinese. We do have a buyback clause in there of £35 million if he does turn into an absolute superstar, but I don't see that happening, and we're probably going to replace him with somebody better. And along with Hajek, we do sell Vitek as he's gone to Al Ittihad for 15 million. So, yeah, like I say, that is a double profit we've made on him as we've now sold him twice. So, yeah, he's been pretty good for us. But a quick break from the transfer news, and I thought I'd show you Michael Funk's development over this season. He's looking very good now. Those men also finally picking up. The technicals are getting really decent, and he's still only 21. So, I'm really looking forward to how he keeps developing. And in terms of incomings, Asan Diao is somebody that I've actually never managed to sign on this game, but he became available on a free transfer, and I've heard or seen that he's a very good player, and I couldn't turn down that opportunity. So we did go ahead and offer him a contract, and after a bit of negotiating, we did settle on something that we were happy with, which is probably more than the rest of our team is on, to be honest. As I think we accepted around 95,000, maybe 100. And I was really excited to potentially bring him in. So we'll have to see if that one gets done. But back to the bids to our players. Bayern Munich, after getting rejected for Silva, have come in for Urena, which we rejected. And then Al Nassr make a bid for Milovanovic, which I actually somehow rejected without even meaning to, even though it might have actually got rejected, seeing as he's got a release clause of £1.5 million more than what they actually offered. But we will be looking at actually selling our wing-backs this season in Jimenez, who we get an offer for from Napoli after they got that one rejected for Milovanovic. Because we're going to be changing formation, like I said previously, and we're not going to be using wing-backs. We're not going to have full-backs at all. We're just going to have 3 centre-backs with 2 DMs in front of them and then looking very attacking. But you will see that just before we play our next game. But for now, that is the reasoning behind why we are accepting bids for Jimenez. As we only actually paid 1.6 million for him, and he's been with us for quite a while. So we'll see what happens there. And after we rejected that bid for Milovanovic accidentally, we do actually end up causing an issue with him as he's not happy about not being allowed to pursue that move to Al Ittihad because obviously the money is life-changing. I did say to him, you've got a release clause. If they match that, then we will accept it. So that is pretty much given his price for them now, and 19.5 million, or 19.25, sorry. If they want him, they can come and offer that, and we'll have no choice to accept it. So, and unfortunately, after we just negotiated up to £26 million for Martin Jimenez, the deal has fallen through as it would breach the squad selection rules for Napoli, as he's a non-EU player. So that was quite disappointing, as I was obviously expecting a decent bit of money coming in for him, but yeah. That might be an issue because we really need to get rid of the fullbacks because they're not going to be happy with the change in tactics because they're just not going to play. And this is the change in tactics. So we are going to be running with 3 centre-backs, 2 DMs, and then obviously very much attacking. We might make some changes to it, might tweak it here and there, but this is how we are going to be starting the season as we are going to be playing Hibs right now. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. So first game of the season was against Hibs at home. And a couple of debuts in this one for Diakate and Joe Gomez, both starting. And yeah, you might be wondering where Milovanovic is playing after I've just said about us getting rid of the fullbacks. But he is playing as a wide centre-back, so it is something that we're going to look to convert him to if we decide to keep him or if he actually eventually stays round. As Joe Gomez gets his Aberdeen career off to an absolute beauty of a start with a goal, putting us 1-0 up against Hibs. And then Semi pulling it back to João Gomez, who lays off to Sardu, who lays off to Levi. And that one hitting the post and going out wide. Or in the 43rd minute, Robbie Ure doesn't score against us this time, but he does set up Dylan Kearney as Hibs managed to level the game and make it 1-1. And a pretty quiet second half as Semi goes looking to get us in front in the 69th minute. Goes in on his right foot, but unfortunately shoots over the bar, and we do go on to draw the game 1-1. So, João Gomez does score on his debut for Aberdeen, which got us a draw, unfortunately not a win, but it is very nice to see. And we have had an offer from Napoli of 19.25 million paying for Milovanovic. So, yeah, it looks like he might be going after all. And with the change in tactics, we're needing some more attackers, and I was tempted to offer for Franco Mastruantuono, who I know is supposed to be very good on this game. And we did get an offer of £26 million accepted for him. So I was a bit skeptical about this because, well, you'll see why in a second. As just like when we were looking at maybe signing Estevao, it turns out he really hasn't actually played too much for Real Madrid since signing at the start of the game for River Plate, or from River Plate rather. And yeah, he looks decent. He's got some very nice stats. But as you can see from here, he really hasn't played a whole lot. And I just wondered, do I really want to be spending £26 million on someone that hasn't really progressed and is already sort of not past it because he's obviously only 24, but he's certainly past the main section of the sort of ages where you really expect the players to develop. So yeah, after looking at that and seeing how many he had played, I decided to actually walk away from this one and save the money for somebody else who I thought would be more reliable and more of a given, basically. And after Napoli did come here for Vladimir Milovanovic, he has left the club after a 19.25 million release clause was met. He has decided to leave the club. So, unfortunately, he was the one that we were actually looking at keeping. As Jimenez is more attacking and less great at the defensive side of things, whereas Milovanovic was actually really good at the defensive side, which is why we were looking to convert him to a wide centre back. But on to our second game of the episode, and we go away to St Mirren in this one. And if you've seen previous episodes, you'll know that they have been causing us issues the more and more we've played them recently. And they do so again as Harrison McMahon scores inside 15 minutes to give them a 1-goal lead. But straight from kickoff, we went straight down the other end with Sato. It comes all the way across to Jay Robinson, and he puts it into the back of the net to make it 1-1. And then 20 minutes later, our young centre-back Silva going on a bit of a run, finding Ansu Fati, plays it through to Ryosuke Sato, whose cross into the middle is put into the back of the net by Wernblad as we take a 2-1 lead. And then on to the second half, Wernblad again gets tackled this time. Sato dribbling past both of his men and shoots into the bottom corner to give us a 3-1 lead and remind us of why we're actually keeping him at the club and rejecting all these offers for him. But just like we scored straight from St Mirren's goal from the kickoff, they did the exact same to us as they pull another one back to make it 3-2. But it wasn't going to be an issue as in the 81st minute, Martin Wernblad scores again to make it 4-2, and that is the scoreline as we finish the game. So Wernblad getting the credit from that one after a good performance and a couple of goals from him. And yeah, instead of Mastantuono, I went and signed my favourite player on this game, and I was delighted that he finally accepted to come to us. 42 million. Canazon is an Aberdeen player. I thought I'd keep this one on the low and surprise you once I decided what I was going to do. Quite surprised he's only rated at 4-star because he's unbelievable. He's, like I say, my favourite player on this game, and he's so reliable, scores goals, perfect for that cam position. And we did try and sign him last year, but he weren't actually interested in coming due to the stature of the club. So maybe us getting the round of 16 again in the Champions League has changed his mind, because I'm absolutely buzzing with this one. As you can see, he has some very nice stats in those attacking areas. And with such an emphasis on the attacking midfielders in this new formation, he is going to be vital to our success going forward. And you can see, 42 million we paid for him. He's now valued at 76 to 91 million. So certainly suggests we got him for a good deal, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs this season. But with him arriving, it does mean we are going to be saying bye to another cam, and that is going to be 32-year-old Morgan Gibbs-White. Another brilliant servant for us, and yeah, getting 6 million for him from Burnley. I was kind of just happy to get some money for him at this point. Like I've said previously, I don't tend to keep players past the age of 31, 32. Same we obviously did with Moussa Diaby. So Morgan Gibbs-White, after a brilliant 4 or 5 years of service, he's going to be leaving the club to join Burnley. And yeah, we certainly wish him all the best because he has been brilliant for us over the years. Next up, we had a League Cup game against Ross County, and a couple of debuts in this one and a couple of changes as well, with Anderson starting in goal and Frank Pelage starting, Hernandez, Canazun making his debut, and Marinovic, also the left wing, the left winger rather. He makes his debut, I think, in this one, and he gets us level in this one in 25 minutes after we took an early 1-goal, well, after Ross County took an early 1-goal lead. It is Marinowicz who got us back into the game, making it 1-1 before that shot save there. As Hernandez gets free down the right, pulls it into the middle, and Canazun also scoring on his debut to give us a 2-1 lead. But what a day this could have been for Marinowicz, as he shot from the edge going just over the crossbar in the 91st minute, and then a minute and a half later, when you're expecting the game to finish, Fundy puts him through on goal, and he puts it wide of the post again. And then a minute later, while we're still expecting the whistle to go, he goes through on goal again. And again, he puts it wide of the post. So we do win the game 2-1, and Marinowicz does get on the score sheet along with Canazun, but he could have had a hat-trick if he had buried those last couple of chances. So, like I say, Canazun did score on his debut. Hernandez doing really well as well, the youngster. I think he'd actually been unhappy with his game time, so good to see him doing well. And then Bayern Munich with a bid 4-0 for Levi, which obviously we were going to reject after we not long signed him to a new contract. And yeah, this was quite surprising. After obviously we sold Mohamed Meite to PSG for 20 million. Was it last year or maybe the year before? He has now gone to Manchester City for 46 million. Because of a clause in the deal to sell him, we will be receiving an extra 2.2 million from that deal. So that's a nice little boost for us. Yeah. And talking of former players, Morgan Gibbs-White has left the club and gone to Burnley. So yeah, we wish him all the best, and we'll see how we get on without him. But we do have a new superstar in that number 10 position who I'm very much looking forward to see. So we smashed our transfer record out of the water with the signing of Canazun. You couldn't tell, I'm absolutely delighted with that signing. He's genuinely my favourite player on this game, and whenever I've signed him, he's always been unreal. So I'm very much looking forward to see what he can do in an Aberdeen shirt. And with the tactical changes we've made, it puts a real emphasis on our cams, our number 10s, and I have no doubt he will do the business for us. We do still need a couple of additions to the squad until I'm completely happy with it, mainly a goalkeeper after we sold Vitek, and probably another striker to rival Wernblad and give him a little bit of competition. But the transfer window is still open, so we'll be looking to make those additions in the next episode. And before I say, if you've enjoyed this one, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I just wanted to say massive thank you if we finally hit 100 subscribers on the channel. And I appreciate all of you who have subscribed so far. And if you haven't, what are we doing? So yeah, if you have enjoyed this one, do me a favour, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.